Yeah, keyword in linear. Line. So, well, I said I was going to talk about it in a sec, but one of the questions looked like that. Plot those points. There's a mark. I know Bryce is here. He hasn't written it yet, but he'd probably figure it out anyway. How do you know if that's linear or not? Because a lot of you didn't. It says explain. You didn't explain. That was nice when I marked it. Yeah. Okay. A lot of you just went linear. Did you explain? You didn't. It's linear because it makes a line. That's it. Like, don't need to say anything else. Okay. Linear, line, linear relations. It's the only stuff we're going to do in this course. Feel free to read all that. A line segment. That's just part of the line. Like from here to here, that would be a segment of the line. Okay? Some people are still confused. This is literacy. Okay, this isn't math. This is literacy. This is why we're reading, 15 minutes every day. Well, some of us do, right? It's the same old thing. If you don't need to read, you're reading. And if you're one of the ones who needs to read, then you don't. Maybe you flip pages, look at pictures, right? You sleep horizontally, you walk vertically. Okay? That makes sense? Yeah. Okay, great. And if it doesn't, well, you got to know it. Memorize it. Horizontal line segment, look at all these. Are these all horizontal? Yes. Horizontal. That's horizontal. That's vertical. Okay? Find the length of each segment by counting. If they give it to you in a graph, we're not always gonna. All you got to do is count. AB, how long is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units long. I don't know what this is as far as X. I don't know if that's seconds, right? Meters, I don't know, microns, people, dollars. I have no idea what this is. So we just say units. CD, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everyone agree? Okay. It's 7 units on the positive side, 3 units on the negative side, but we just count. Does it matter which way you count? Can I start at the right and count left? Yeah. Okay, all these, this is just a distance. We don't really care about direction. This isn't physics. Okay. EF, well, that's good enough. Okay. Determine the coordinates of the endpoints of each segment. One of those questions where the intercept said this word, not many of you did it, coordinates. Coordinates are always in the form your independent first, your input first, your output or dependent second. They're in brackets with a comma in between them. Okay? What's the coordinates of point A? Well, I go 1, 2, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Okay, B. That is 5, 6, 7, 8. And how far up do I got to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did we notice anything there? Hang on, hold that thought. Let's look at CD. What's point C? Negative 1, 2, 3. That's X. And Y is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Point D is, there's 5, 6, 7. Any guesses as to what the Y coordinate is? Someone said 4. 1, 2, 3. Hey, he's right. How is he so smart? Does he count that quickly? Or did he figure something out already? What does this line mean? It means it's like horizontal. That means, by definition, they must have equal y points. Because if the heights are different, let's say y was height, that wouldn't be horizontal, would it? Okay? Right? Think about it. If the height is the same here, and this isn't San Francisco, okay, then that's a definition of horizontal. If the height's different from this end to this end, it's not horizontal anymore. Okay? So, complete the following. What's the difference in the x coordinates? So here's an x coordinate. Okay, here's an x coordinate. They want this in a particular order. What is the x coordinate for point B? That's 8. What is the x coordinate for point A? That's 2. And they want the difference. So that is 6. Have we seen this number before? Isn't that how long this thing is? Yeah. So if we take the difference of the x coordinates, we get how long the line is, right? I mean, if it goes from 2 to, was that 5, 6, 7, 8? What's the difference between 2 and 8? It's 6. That's how long it is. What happens if you did it the other order? What happens if I went xa minus xb? What happens if I went 2 minus 8? I get -6, don't I? Okay, so like I said before, we're not too concerned about that. This is a distance. Okay, in physics, if I was walking this way and I did 6 paces, I would end up here. If I wanted to go the opposite direction, if this way I took as positive, this way has to be negative. Okay? Go -6. What's 6 minus 6? 6 plus -6? 0. I'm right back where I started. Okay, but we're not in physics. I don't care. I'm going to go 6 this way. That's the distance. That's how far I went. 6 steps. 6 that way. This is also 6 steps. Okay? So don't worry about it. If you get a negative, just ignore the negative and say it's 6 units. It's 6 if I count that way. It's 6 if I count that way. Okay? Then we don't have to worry about, you always have to take the right point from the left point or something silly like that. Okay? Don't worry about it. Just take the difference of the 2 points. If it's negative, just make it positive. Okay? That's easier. All right. Let's just check this one too. CD. They want D first. They want the right point first. What was that again? That was 7. If I take away this point for x, that was -3. What's 7 minus -3? 10. And we know that's how long it better be, right? Okay, a minus minus, always make that a positive, right? Okay? Again, if I went -3 minus 7, I get -10. We're just going to drop the negative. It's 10 units long. Okay? But if you got a picture of it, why would you do this? You can just count, okay? But you're not always going to get a picture of it. How can the coordinates of the endpoints of the horizontal line segment be used to find the length of the line segment? Okay, we just did it. Subtract them. So, if you get a couple of points and it's not given on a graph, well, you can't really count, can you? I'm sure you could plot those. On the government exam, you might have a piece of graph paper. Actually, no, it's electronic. You won't. Electronically, you'll have a piece of graph paper. How are you going to write on it? They're not going to give you one of these fancy tablets. Okay? So, first of all, just look at those 2 points. What do I know about those 2 points? Do they have the same y coordinate? Does that mean it's a horizontal line? Yes, it does. What's the length of AB? Well, if I go 8 minus 8, I'm going to get 0. That doesn't make any sense. In other words, what you just did was try to say, what's the height of this line? It's 0. Right? So you have to know that's a horizontal line. I want to take the difference between those 2 points. Okay? 2 and minus 5. Doesn't matter which order. 2 subtract minus 5. This line is 7 units long. Okay? So that's what you should do. Again, could you plot it? Yeah, I guess you could, right? You could go down and put 2, 8, 5, 8. See, that's a horizontal line, and then count. But, I mean, that would take a lot of time. All right. Uh-oh. What the heck is that? What the heck is that? Determine the length of this line segment. First of all, what do we see? Is it like the last one? Do I have an equal y coordinate? I do. Guess what? That's a horizontal line. I don't care what b is. B could be 2, -12, doesn't matter. It's the same y coordinate, so that's a horizontal line. Okay, how do I find the length of the line? I just subtract the 2 x points. I take that x point, I subtract this one. That's the length of the line segment. Don't need to know what A is. But what happens if you don't put brackets here? You get the wrong answer, because then that negative doesn't apply to the 4, right? So I have A minus 2. Brackets here don't do anything. Minus A minus 4. Right? So negative times a positive is a negative. Then A, what's A take away A? Got an apple? Someone steals it? I don't have an apple anymore, right? -2, -4 is -6. That's the length of the line segment. But does that make any sense for distance? No. So we're going to make that positive, okay? 6 units long. Okay. We went from horizontal to vertical. Some differences, of course, because now it's not horizontal, it's vertical, but some similarities. Let's just do GH, okay? How long is this sucker? If you got a picture of it, you're probably just going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 units long. If you don't have a picture and they give you the endpoints, for point G, this is -1, 2, -3, and -1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5, 6, 7, 8. For H, do we see anything special there? -3 again, and 1, 2, 3, 4. What do we notice about a vertical line? We have the same x coordinate. If it doesn't have the same x coordinate, if they're different, well then it's not vertical. Okay? Does that make sense? Great. If not, stick it in your noodle. What's the difference in the y coordinates? You know, for fun, let's not do it the way they asked. Let's just take any old, take point G, -8. I'm going to subtract this point, 4. That gives me -12. But again, I don't care about direction. Okay? Doesn't matter if I count this way or count that way. I'm just going to make that positive. Is that 12? Yes, it is. Okay? All you got to do is take the difference in the 2 coordinates and you know the distance of that line segment. All right? Same thing. Don't need to write that. Maybe we'll make a note of that though, okay? So a vertical line, what did we notice? X coordinates, if I can spell, are the same. Always, always, always. If they're not, then it's not vertical. All right. So line segment RS has these endpoints. Determine the length of RS. Whether it's vertical or whether it's horizontal, you're going to subtract some of the coordinates. Don't go x minus y, okay? But if you take the difference of those, what are you going to get? 0. Well, the line segment, we're not going to give you a line segment that has no length and say, please find the length, okay? That's like sticking a kid in a round room and telling him to pee in the corner. It ain't going to happen. Right? So you got to realize these are the two I'm going to take the difference of. -4 subtract -9. That's -4 plus 9 if we're weak on our integers. Still see kids putting this in their calculator. Remember, you're going to get questions like this where you can't use a calculator. The first dozen on the provincial exam, so you might be screwed. Okay, that's 5 units long. Is that a vertical or horizontal line? They have the same x coordinate. What did we just write down? That's a vertical line. Doesn't ask that. Could you just quickly, roughly graph that and see? 1, -4, that's there. 1, -9, that's there. Hey, look, it's vertical. Okay, took about 4 seconds, right? Determine the length of this line segment. Is that vertical or horizontal? Yeah, we're going to be doing one in a sec that's neither. Everybody loves Pythagoras. That is, you know what, can I plot that? Sure. Where's A? Oh, look, there it is. AB. Where's that? I don't know. How about right there? There's point AB. Here's point A, B plus 10. Do you think that's bigger than B or smaller than B? Yeah, it's probably like 10 more than B, right? 10 more than B. There it is. That's B plus 10. Looks like a vertical line, doesn't it? Okay, how long is this line? Anybody see it yet? B minus bracket B plus 10. Let's be consistent. This point minus that point. If you don't put brackets here, you got the wrong answer. That's B minus 10. What's B take away B? It's gone. And again, I'm just talking about a length here, so negative doesn't make any sense. That's 10 units long, right? B, how do I get from B to 10? I add 10 units. It's 10 units long. Okay, Pythagoras. Some of us love this, like Sarah. This is, again, there's the formula. It's a relationship between the sides of a right angle triangle. If you don't have a right angle triangle, you can't do it. But what other kind of triangle are you going to get in grade 10? Okay. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's the relationship of the sides of a right angle triangle. The first guy to discover that, well, hey, that was his name. 400 something years ago. Okay, and what is that in English? The square of the length of the hypotenuse, that's the square of the hypotenuse, is equal to the sum of the squares of the lengths of the other two sides. What's another name for these sides again? Yeah, legs. Okay, if you see that, that's what they mean. That's a leg, that's a leg. I didn't come up with the name, okay? Someone else did, but, you know, we all are stuck with it. That's a hypotenuse. It's always the longest side. It's always the side opposite the right angle. All right, because how are you going to count this one, guys? Can you? No, because it's not horizontal or vertical. But we can still find out how long it is. Use Pythagoras to determine the length of that line segment. What do I need to do Pythagoras? I need a right angle triangle. Do you see one there yet? Good. And if you don't, you make one. Now I have one. There's my right angle. I know this squared plus this squared is equal to that squared. They want to know what this is. AB. That's the hypotenuse. So that squared is this squared. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So again, that's Pythagoras. The sum of the squares of the two legs, that's 4, that's 10. Take the squares of those, add them together. That's equal to, this is length AB. I don't know what it is. I need to find it out. So I got to solve that thing for AB. Okay, AB squared is, what's 4 squared? What's 10 squared? Okay, so AB squared is 116. Did it ask me to find AB squared? No, it asked for AB. How do I get AB? How do I get rid of that square? Take the square root of both sides. Again, technically that's plus or minus, but this is a distance. I don't care about the negative answer, do I? So just ignore it. Okay, that's what AB is. Exactly. As soon as you put that in a calculator, it's not exact anymore, it's an approximation. Because that's not a perfect square, it's going to give me an irrational number, right? Decimal, 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 decimal. How many do you feel like writing down? You can only write 9 down because that's all your calculator gives you. Okay, exact answer and a decimal to the nearest tenth. But if this was radicals, would that be okay? Or would I have to reduce it? For sure. And if this is a multiple choice question, that might not be one of the answers. One of the 4 answers is going to be this simplified. So again, how do I simplify this? I got to find a perfect square in 116. What is it? I don't know. Got a calculator? What do you want to start with? The lowest perfect square. Well, 1's the lowest perfect square, but that's not going to help us. Does 4 go in there? 29 times. So I'm going to break that thing up into the square root of 4 times 29, right? Is that the same as this? It's the same number. That's the square root of 116. That's the square root of 116. And I can split this radical up. Okay, the square root of 4 times 29 is the same as the square root of 4 times the square root of 29. And why did I want to do this again? Because I know what that is. What's the square root of 4? 2. So that's 2 times root 29. And I know there's no more perfect squares than 29 because that's a prime number. That's it exactly as a simplified answer. Okay? That's how we want it from big kids. It actually asks for the decimal as well, so now I'm going to put that in. 2 root 29 and to the nearest tenth, that is 10.8. Right? Again, if this was a government exam question, that would be one of the answers. Probably wouldn't have any decimals. They well, you know what? They probably wouldn't have that either. Okay? So if you have your calculator, if you're allowed it, again, is that going to make the same answer as this one? Yeah. How can you find out? You put it in. What's the square root of 116? Is it like 10.77? Okay. So if you're allowed your calculator and you still can't simplify these, you can still find out if that's the right answer, right? It's going to make the same decimal. Okay, 1 to 5. For 5, just do AB and CD line segments? Yeah, sorry, thanks. 1, 2, 5. Just number 5, do A, B, C, D. Okay, there's like 8 line segments in that question. You don't have to do them all. Just do 2 of them. 7 and 11. Bryce can start that. Right, Bryce? Okay, and the rest of yous. Let's see how we did in our test. Most of you came up. Let me stop this.